Well, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sahil Mehta. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Regal, and I'm joined by Jarrod, who's Chief Customer Officer at TaskUs. We're really excited to have the opportunity to speak to y'all today. Obviously, the fact that you chose to come out here in Las Vegas for this convention means you are thinking about complicated applications of this new technology form, and we've been doing in the real world, so we're excited to share some of our experiences. But thank you, Jarrod, so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to hearing from you and your experiences at TaskUs. I guess before we jump in and talk about some of what we've experienced, would love to just give backgrounds on our organizations to the group here. So do you mind telling everyone a little bit about TaskUs?
Yeah, sure. TaskUs is a business process outsourcing company for the most part. We've been in business a little bit less than some of the legacy players, about 15 years. We're 60,000 employees around the world. We do about 60% of our work is in customer experience, so kind of your classic contact center, call center work. We also do a bunch of trust and safety and fraud, risk and compliance work. That's about, call it 20% of our business. And then we have an AI services business, which helps fuel AI for big tech companies. You can think of that as helping foundation model developers. Back 5 years ago, it was more helping deliver machine learning models into production for clients. So basically helping them refine their products. It's given us a unique perspective on AI and its journey over the past few years. I'm the Chief Customer Officer, which means I run all the go-to-market functions: sales, marketing, our product strategy, service line strategy, our consulting organization. And we just recently built our agentic AI consulting practice maybe 18 months ago or so. I'm from Dallas, Texas. This is the only place on earth that's hotter than Dallas, Texas right now. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that introduction, Jarrod. And I know, speaking on behalf of the team at Regal, we're very excited to call TaskUs a close partner in some of the work we're doing. To give you all a quick background on Regal, Regal is an AI agent platform. Our founders, were senior leaders at Angie, the home services company, where they were running a 3,000-person contact center. And one of the things they realized was that you can use voice in really powerful ways to not only help your customers solve what they're trying to do, but drive more ROI-positive business outcomes. And the challenge had always been that it was hard to scale voice. Voice was expensive. And that's where their idea to start Regal came to be. Since then, Regal has grown pretty tremendously. We've raised over $80 million, have done over 250 million phone calls, and work with hundreds of companies to deploy AI voice agents across the enterprise. In terms of just 3 key things to keep in mind about us in terms of what differentiates us from other platforms, you might even meet some of them at this conference. The first is we are exclusively focused on the enterprise. What that means is we invest both the technical infrastructure and professional services, oftentimes in partnership with Jarrod's team, to ensure that the AI agents we build and deploy don't just execute on the calls correctly, but also take into effect the data from your customer systems and the rules in your ontology that you're using to drive workflows in your business. The second thing is we've built an engine that allows us to have basically embed your agents in context. So what I mean by that is the ability to not just say, hey, this agent can make or take a call, but also say, hey, we have a rules-based system that says if this lead acts in this way or this customer acts in this way, trigger this type of message or this type of agent to make that call. And then the last thing I'd call out is enterprise-grade observability and quality, whether that's quality that you already use for human agents like conversational intelligence, call transcriptions, scorecards, or things that are only possible with AI agents, which are things like running thousands of simulations of conversations before you put them live. So it's been a really exciting journey for our teams together, and we're excited to share a bit more. As COO at Regal, I oversee our sales and CS teams. So I guess, just to jump right into the first question, Jarrod, TaskUs is obviously, a business process outsourcing organization. So it may surprise some folks to hear how big you all are betting on AI agents and CX. Tell us a bit about your confidence in doing that and just the process of coming to that perspective in your organization.
Yeah, I mean, we've built our business on the back of high growth tech companies. So our largest clients are all kind of Silicon Valley based mobile apps, online businesses, tech companies, et cetera. So they, by definition, we were sort of like guilty by association with them and having to be sort of tech forward. What became clear to us over the past few years was that we built up this business supporting foundation models, and we started to see the impact that was going to probably have on commercial applications, consumer applications. And so we said, this is going to happen. How do we try to take advantage of that? So we took the learnings we had by helping build some of the technology and then said, how could we pivot those resources, put them back into the marketplace to help clients adopt technology as part of their strategy for customer experience, their strategy for service and support for their consumers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys were really sitting on the front lines with your customers as a core provider to the AI, to the models that ultimately made these AI voice agents possible. In terms of, I want to talk a little bit about quality. I think one of the interesting things that we've observed is that historically, if you look at the customers that, or the companies that rank the highest in terms of CX quality, and you go interview their CX leaders, they typically say the same things. Hey, we go invest in people. We go, we train them up. We make sure that they're the highest quality people. They stay with us for years and years and years. And that's been the path to quality. But now with AI voice agents, you actually have a different path that's markedly cheaper in terms of the economic impact, and also unlocking new capabilities because of your ability to have, agentic actions that let you take actions on other workflows, or RAG, which allows you to talk in other knowledge bases. So when you think about quality, what gives you the confidence that AI agents will match the quality that TaskUs is known for and has invested in so heavily?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, our customers are basically looking for some equation of quality and value, right? Whether they're trying to move work offshore, whether they're trying to use staff augmentation or labor pools in the United States even to get work done because they need scale. They're looking for some sort of equation of quality and value. When we look at what's happening right now, especially with voice AI, there's a significant opportunity to actually drive quality up. And the fundamental reason for that is you're sitting on droves of data that you would typically not be sitting on. I would argue that probably 80 to 90% of my clients today are sampling, 5 to 10% of their calls. They're doing real reviews. They're getting sentiment analysis and then making policy decisions, process and optimization decisions, product decisions based on that. And not even just on what the agent is doing, but based on how the product is functioning actually in market based on customer feedback. The difference that we see with the agentic AI technologies is natively, they are sitting on top of all of that data all the time, which provides us just droves of information. And then the really advanced platforms, like you mentioned, allow us to actually simulate and sort of A/B test and pilot things, policy changes, process changes, technology changes, to drive higher quality results than they're actually able to achieve today. The other advantage with the AI technology is humans don't operate flawlessly at scale, right? We actually have the potential with some of the AI-based technologies to drive higher consistency in quality at scale than we probably ever have been with humans. There's different trade-offs, right? But if you get the use cases right, the opportunities for quality standards actually go up.
Yeah, I think, one thing that I know about TaskUs is, your teams are truly experts on the processes and quality governance processes of your customers. And I can speak to this firsthand because you guys ran a pretty rigorous process to even choose, which technology providers to partner with. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you guys approach that overall?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were kind of dabbling in the space, I would say 2.5 years ago, 18 months ago. We built up a team of technologists, and then we tried to do what entrepreneurial founders do, like mine. We decided we would go create the AI technology ourselves. And then we forgot we were a services company, right? So we weren't very good at it. What it turned out we were good at was we could put technology around the agent. Like we were really good at like agent assist AI stuff that we could do, but clients would not buy technology from a non-technology company. We didn't have the engineering chops. So we decided to go out and pick best of breed third-party AI technologies specific in the agentic space because that's where we felt like our biggest opportunity was. And you looked at all the industry data and we were looking at, who are all the players getting funding in the customer support AI space. There's, 800. We narrowed that down to like 24, maybe 24 or something. We ran an RFI process and we were based on, technology for the most part, like technology, like fundamentals, references. We were really interested in companies who actually had referenceable clients in the space who could tell us stories about how they delivered impact. We actually didn't care about price. We had a feeling that the market was going to bear out price over time, price and value over time. And then the last two things, we looked at vision, like how much did we feel like the platform had a vision for not just today's functionality, but the future? And then was it somebody we kind of liked to go have a beer with on Friday night? So like, what was the partnership angle? Were they really interested in partnering, investing in us and training us? Did they really want to do a joint go to market? Those sort of things. I would say that was like those were the big factors. And then, the other question, right, is, so why Regal? So nobody was exclusively focused on voice at the time that we were talking to the market. So this is like Q4 last year. Everybody was saying voice is coming, voice is coming. Every partner we talked to said, oh, it's on the roadmap, on the roadmap. Because of the contact center communication platform that the Regal team had, we've been working with them since 2019. Alex, the CEO, and I had probably started talking maybe late 18, but we started working together in 19. And so they understood the voice space better than any other player, we felt, and they had a better product roadmap. In addition, it felt like the Regal team, because of the CCaaS background, understood the customer use cases, their technology stacks, their telephony plans, and the things that mattered in voice calls, that the other partners, and let's be honest, 90% of the partners we were talking to were in chatbot, right? They were different flavors of text-based, message-based agentic AI. That was the primary difference, in terms of why we wanted to go to market with Regal.
Yeah, no, and I'm very appreciative that you did choose us, but voice was a very conscious decision from day one with Regal. I think we all kind of collectively agreed or perhaps deluded ourselves into believing that chat was a better experience for our customers. But the reality was it was a better experience perhaps for our cost basis. And even now when you build an AI solution, the bar for a chatbot is a lot lower than what it is for an AI voice agent. If an AI voice agent takes 15 seconds to respond and give you the right answer, that's not a very good experience for the customer, whereas with a chatbot, that would be normal. So I think we all have had our share of experiences with frustrating chatbots where you don't know where you left it off, you don't know if you actually are still talking to someone or not. We think voice is honestly the purest customer interaction and the way that everyone would choose if they could prefer. So it's definitely been a tenet for VARs from day one.
I would just add, you think about this quality value equation. A lot of client use cases that are coming to us, and I think we've been surprised by the traction that we've been able to make over the past 6 to 9 months. There are just a ton of domestic calls out there that are relatively low value that could be handled in just a smarter way. And I assumed when we got into the agentic AI space that everybody was going to come to me and want their chatbot platform and IVR replacement and self-help, help center front end replacement, and then move that into simple, chat contact types. Yes, there's demand there, but it's also a super fragmented marketplace. There's a bunch of partners like call your Salesforce, Agentforce, and other software players in the messaging space that are trying to bolt on. We were very clearly first to market to talk to our clients about the use cases that we could solve for them with voice AI. And we were very specific about the problems we could solve, and the ROI on those, although the price point for voice is higher, the ROI on them is like 3 times better, right?
Yeah. Any specific examples you want to jump in?
We've got you must have gotten a PR release. I didn't get that PR release. We have a mental wellness technology platform that we've been working with. And they've got so it's a marketplace basically connecting patients to counselors, right? And you've got this inbound interest that's coming through all their marketing programs, and the key is to try to get them actually set up and actually take the first appointment, right? That's a lot harder than you think. And any of you who've done like a doctor sign up or whatever, there's 1,000 reasons why it doesn't work. You cancel the appointment. You don't like the times that are scheduled available. Maybe the provider actually cancels the appointment. So this conversion problem is a major revenue detractor for this brand. We were able to show them that the labor they were throwing against it today was a super high cost, but that wasn't even the point. Keep that if you want to spend that. Benchmark us against it. We think we'll give you a more efficient experience, a better conversion rate, and we can give you way more outbound, basically appointment setting conversions than you're able to get today because they're limited by a bunch of different factors.
Yeah, and so I think one thing I want to make sure everyone takes away here is it's not just about a cost reduction play, but in other words, if you think about any sort of initiative where you're investing in new technology, you want to perform on 3 vectors: make more money, spend less money, enable new capabilities. And with Voice Agent, this customer and several others we're working with are able to hit hit on all three of those vectors, not just on a cost reduction play. If anything, the cost reduction I found has been lower priority for a lot of the customers we talk to. So one last thing I want to ask, and then we've got about 5 minutes left, so we'll open it up to questions. Is just anything you see from customers who are more successful in the way they approach voice AI and bringing that into their enterprises. What are some of the best practices and just things that you see about winners?
Yeah, I mean, I would say number one is alignment between operations and product. So whatever your technology organization is, or your product organization, where we see projects fail is when the teams who actually run, let's say, customer support or sales or outbound today and really understand it, when they're not aligned with product and what product's trying to do, or the tech teams, like you just get this massive gap in terms of ROI realization. The second is, I don't think clients anticipate up front all the care and feeding that's going to be necessary to manage these systems over time. And it's not because the technology's flawed or high maintenance. It's because policies change, processes change, products change, like all the time. And oh, by the way, like people don't manage their in-house knowledge very well to begin with, which is one of the biggest hurdles we have to get through on our initial implementations, right? We have to help them refine their knowledge in a way that the agent operating procedures can be documented and then be effective. So those are the two big things. The third one I would say is really understanding what your ROI is, to your point. Like, is it revenue growth? Is it conversion rate? Is it a cost reduction? Is it scale economy? Like, you got to understand that up front and then measure it, document it, and go back. Otherwise, the business gets impatient.
Yeah. Well, with that, wanted to open up the floor for questions from anyone in the audience. So thanks so much for listening.
Hi, for Regal, you guys are business process agentic. How would you compare yourself to SoundHound? Would you use their technology?
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with SoundHound. Are they a TTS or? Yeah, so there's, and I'm sure everyone here can name a couple. There are a number of kind of vertical specific plays that are coming up, and it's a countless number of customers that are companies that have popped up and said, "Hey, I'm just going to handle mortgage servicing," or "I'm just going to handle appointments for dental clinics," or "Hey, I'm going to be the receptionist for a med spa." And in each of those use cases, what we find is that they do have an advantage, especially with SMBs, because their ability to just build a very specific and unique use case that basically works well and is as low cost hurdle. What we find with Regal is, the way we compare to companies like in that category is that we are specifically focused on several use cases within the enterprise. So when you get into larger call volumes, more complex governance needs and security needs, that's where we find ourselves. So typically we're not competing as much with those kind of vertical plays. Correct. I mean, we work primarily with insurance, fintech, healthcare, several other verticals of that like. But yeah, our focus is enterprise.